Hi, I'm John Wayne. If you want to take your business to the next level, get coached by my team. We will schedule one-on-one calls to make sure that you set the bar high for success today. Go to uscontractorregistration.com/coaching for my 5 must-dos to succeed as a federal contractor. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the new vendor orientation video. I'm John Wayne, and today we're going to cover how to use the Advanced Procurement Portal in this video. Before we get there, I just want to talk briefly to you about how USFCR is committed to making you a better contractor. Any questions you have throughout, please feel free to ask. First, we're going to cover training and coaching, what it is and how does it work. USFCR training and coaching is very simple. We give you the knowledge, the skills, the templates, the education, the encouragement to utilize and to use the system correctly. You can work hard, or you can work smart, or you can do both. So we have several types of training. We have hourly training. We have group training daily, 1 and 4 p.m. Eastern time, where you can access the GoToMeeting and ask questions. You'll actually see my screen, and we work on bids, proposals, solicitations, or questions. Some people join the group training and they just listen and take notes. Some people come into the group training with a bid or proposal, solicitation to work on, and we work on it live together. And some people just come in and have questions. The group training is every day at 1 and 4 p.m. Eastern time. It's live and it's online through GoToMeeting. And then we also have personal training and coaching, which is one-on-one, also through GoToMeeting, where I'm going to work directly with you and your team and teach you the ins and outs of federal contracting. But more importantly, with the personal training, we can also get into details of maybe simple mistakes that you're making that are costing you contracts now, that are costing you clients now, ways to work better, smarter, faster. If your closing rate is about 10%, we need to get it to 30 or 40. If you invest the time to write 10 bids to win 1, we need to fix that. You should be writing 10 bids to win 3 or 4. Again, make sure if you guys have any questions, feel free to ask. The other services we provide here at USFCR, they're really a necessity. Okay, your SAM registration is a basic registration. It's how you're paid by the government. You have to be registered in SAM and have a cage code in order to be able to bid on contracts, to be awarded and paid. And you don't want to invest the time in submitting bids and find out later after you didn't win any that was because you had basic mistakes in your SAM registration. It's just like your taxes, guys. You could do them if you really wanted to, but why learn the new rules and laws every year to do your own taxes to try and save a buck when you're risking owing the government more money or getting less money back, or making a mistake and the government assumes that you made the mistake on purpose, like you're trying to cheat the system, and you could be fined or even do jail time. Currently, there's very little competition in the system. You've got a better chance of winning contracts now than from the research that I've done in the history of our government. There's less competition today than ever. If you did your own SAM certification, you got your cage code and it says you're active, that still doesn't guarantee that you are compliant. Now, I can tell you this, out of the 160,000 small businesses that are active in the federal system, technically speaking, I know half of them are compliant because we've completed 80,000 plus SAM registrations. And one of the beautiful things about becoming a client now and having us register your SAM, if you sign up with us as a client for any of our services, you get basic access to the APP at no charge. Now, your SAM registration is kind of like having a driver's license. It gives you the legal right to drive, but you still need a car, you still need gas, insurance, you need to maintain the car, you gotta have a good mechanic. There's a lot of tools involved in winning government contracts outside of just the basic SAM registration. Or let's say you're a fisherman and you have a fisherman's license. Same thing, you still need a tackle box, a boat, you need some coordinates, gas, bait, the right equipment. This is what we provide. 8A, Hub Zone, GSA, DAPA, Wide Area Workflow, woman-owned, minority-owned, veteran-owned, If it's a federal set aside, we can do it for you and do it right the first time, every time. Quick reminder again, if you have any questions, please feel free to ask. That's what we're here for, is education and learning, teaching you the ropes, giving you the encouragement and the skills you need to be successful. Now, in addition to winning contracts and expanding your current client base, we also teach you how to avoid losing contracts, which is just as important. We also teach you how to avoid being scammed. In any industry, there's scams. During Christmas, there's Christmas scams. During IRS season, there's tax scams. So if you're in business, there's people out there trying to take your legitimate money from you. We're going to teach you how to detect these scams and, more importantly, how to avoid them to begin with. There's a lot of companies that are trying to do what we do. They're trying to ride our coattails. They're trying to mirror what we do. Most of them only do a portion of what we do. There's thousands of companies that sell GSAs. And unfortunately, these scumbags will sell it to you if you need it or not. We don't do that. Here at USFCR, we're the only company that I know of that exists that allows you to pay your GSA over 12 months. No one else does this. And this is part of our agreement with our state's attorney, Pam Bondi, though our intent is to help you, not to hurt you. Like these people they're not even our competition. They can't compete, but they're trying to. And they will sell you products and services you don't need, or in some cases, sell you something that you're not even going to be able to use because they're not a legitimate company. They're an offshore scam. We're going to teach you how to detect those quickly so you don't waste time, and how to prevent from getting those emails and those phone calls in the future. Look, guys, the U.S. federal government is the largest purchaser of products and services on the planet, and as far as we know, in our solar system. There's no one that spends more money than the U.S. federal government. The U.S. federal government spends more money than most other governments combined. Technically, the U.S. federal government is recession-proof. In many cases, like when the housing market fell apart in 2008 and a lot of people quit spending, in many cases during recessions or during problem times, our federal government spends more money to fix those problems. So if you're not on that wagon, you're not getting a piece of that. We don't want to teach you how to get a piece of the pie. We're going to teach you how to make your own pie. We're a powerhouse, and you can be a part of that powerhouse. You can be a wheel that makes that machine work. If you know what you're doing and how to do it properly and invest your time wisely, you will be successful. It's just a matter of time. It's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when. W-I-N. All right, next up, guys, I want to show you our new system called APP, stands for Advanced Procurement Portal. We designed APP for one primary reason, and that's to make it as easy as possible for you to do business. APP pulls data from FBO, from Subnet, from Federal Procurement Data System, from USA Spending, and from other systems that we know that exist that most people don't even know exist, and it pulls this data into one easy-to-use system. The big difference between getting opportunities out of APP and FBO is actually pretty simple. FBO runs once a day. When you set up your searches in FBO, automatically those searches run once a day, and they run at 3 to 4 o'clock in the morning when that system's the slowest. The problem with that is this. We all know the early bird gets the worm. And if the government posts an opportunity this morning and you don't get it until tomorrow morning, you're already a day late and $1 short. Now, that's not going to make a big difference in some cases. It will in a few instances, especially if you got the opportunity now and you called the supplier and no one else calls the supplier today, he's going to give you a good quote. If everybody else gets that opportunity tomorrow morning and 3 or 4 people call that supplier at one time asking for a quote, he's going to give them a higher quote because of supply and demand. He knows he can get more money. So in that case, yes, the early bird does get the worm. But more importantly, if a purchasing agent only needs 3 offers on a bid, and let's say they receive 2 or 3 offers by lunch, they could archive that opportunity. They don't want to get 6 offers. If they only need 3, that's doubling their work. So if they get 3 offers by lunch and they archive that opportunity and you get that opportunity the next morning, you're not going to get it the next morning because it's already been archived. When your search runs the next day, it's not even going to find that opportunity. That opportunity no longer exists. And I can tell you this from countless, hundreds, if not thousands of times that clients have called up and said, I never got this. Why is that? And that's because they were running their searches in FBO that were a day late and a dollar short. All right, guys, I want you to make a commitment to learning, to using the Learning Center, to study all the pieces from A to Z. It tracks your completion as you go. As you complete a section, you can check the box on the bottom, completed, and it'll track how much of the Learning Center you've actually utilized. Utilize it. It's a wonderful tool. It will help you be more successful. We have our Master Bid Template section where we give you a master bid template that you can use to plug and play. Again, we want to make it as easy on you as possible to be successful. So we're going to give you all the tools, but the tools are going to be sharp. They're going to be calibrated, calculated. They're going to be ready to use. All you have to do is plug and play. Make the commitment to read all the material and complete the training center first. Get your foundation built to be successful. Then you're going to want to set up your searches. Simply clicking on your search filters, you can search by solicitation number, keyword, agent email, an office or agency name, a set aside, by a NAICS code, city, state, classification, opportunity type. You can set up a search by keyword, for example, tree trimming. They're listed by date, so you know the most recently posted. Now, this search, for example, we set up a basic search by keyword. You can also go back down and you can refine your search. So we're going to do tree trimming again. It remembered the keyword, so we don't have to type it all the way out. But now we're going to add opportunity type. So we're only looking for a combined synopsis solicitation, which means active opportunity. We're not looking for awards. We're not looking for pre-solicitations, sources sought, RFIs. We're just looking for active opportunities. So you know the most recently posted is the one that's up top. You can save that search to run automatically. And you can name the search, nickname it, so you know what search it is. We know that that's an active search for tree trimming, and that's the 11 out of 100 searches we've set up so far. And 9 out of 10 of those searches we're watching. The best way to set up a saved search is to create the search and then see how it works. Some searches you're going to need to be more specific. Maybe they're bringing you a few too many opportunities that are not a perfect fit. But you also don't want to set your searches up to be so specific that you're missing out on opportunities. So we can save it and tell it to watch automatically. You'll never have to go out and manually look for opportunities. When you manually look for something and it's not there, you're wasting your time. Set up your searches to run automatically. Watch them so you're notified automatically. So you can click the little eye icon or the little magnifying glass icon. The magnifying glass icon is for you to search now. And the eyeball icon is for you to set up an automatic watch that'll show up in your federal feed automatically. When you're watching a search that meets that search engine criteria, that opportunity will automatically show up in your federal feed, so it's easy to track. You can set your searches to notify you. So you can set your alerts up to run when you're actively doing business or when you're awake. And save it. And it'll go to the email that you have in the settings account. So I want to take another moment, ask if anyone has any questions. Please feel free to ask. So preparing your master bid template. This is your plug and play document that you can utilize for probably 90% of the opportunities you're going to be submitting. Once you download it, you're going to want to edit it and make it into your format. Put your logo, add your information, your contact info. It's going to save you time and energy and manpower, and it's something that once you fill it out, you can use it repeatedly. So it allows you to submit more bids. The more efficient you get at this, the more bids you can submit, the quicker you can submit them, the more concise they are, the more accurate. As you submit bids and you make mistakes or you don't win it and you request a debriefing and you find out why, you're not going to continue to do that. The definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over again. We want to be results oriented. We want to learn every time we submit a bid so we do it better next time. So you find an opportunity in APP that you're interested in bidding on. You're going to see that APP organizes the data into a very easy to use window to give you all the details of the opportunity. You want to be able to get through these quickly and determine whether or not you want to bid on them. You don't want to waste a lot of time finding opportunities to bid on or determining if you want to bid on them. You want to invest your time bidding. So you need to remember this. This isn't a get-rich-quick scheme, okay? This is a long-term retirement plan. If you work this system right and work it hard for the next couple of years, you could literally set this up so that you could sell the business in 10 years and retire well. It's not a get-rich-quick scheme. It's a long-term retirement plan. Your main goal in the beginning is to submit some bids. Submit a couple. Don't expect to win them, okay? And don't expect to make huge profits on them. You're better off on the first couple of giving the government a really good price. And more importantly, just get in there and do it. Like Nike says, just do it. You need to submit a few to get comfortable, to understand how you need to tweak your business and put your business in a better position for the government to hire you. Once you've completed a couple of these and you didn't win them, you're going to want to request a debriefing and find out why. You don't want to keep doing the same thing over and over and expecting different results. You want to be results oriented. You want to learn from each bid that you submit and not make those same mistakes in the future. And unlike the private, commercial, industrial, and a lot of state contracts, you legally have the right to request a debriefing and find out why they didn't hire you. When you request a debriefing, also ask the purchasing agent, can you give me your opinion on what I could do better? Is there anything that I could do better or different in the future that would help me win more contracts? Because if you can ask a purchasing agent for their opinion and you get a purchasing agent who likes to talk, they're going to tell you what you can do to be more successful, and they're going to appreciate the fact that you're listening. And if you utilize those steps, the next time they see one of your bids or proposals, they're going to say, hey, look, I told this guy he should try this next time, and he actually did it. He actually listened to me. That's awesome. I should go ahead and award it to him since he listened to me. Although if I don't, then what else am I going to say that he did wrong? If you want to do a bid protest, sometimes there's a window that you have to make that bid protest or that debriefing. So the best bet on the first couple of solicitations, opportunities that you work on, get in my training, work with me. Let me show you how to determine the difference between those, how to see if there's a debriefing window or not. And let me show you how to easily navigate these. Because if I can teach you how to get through these quickly, you can submit more. If you can submit more, you're going to win more. Anybody have any questions? If you have APP Plus, you're also going to have access to our agent finder. You'll be able to make a custom list of agents based on their NAICS code, agency, coworkers, etc. And you can utilize the CRM part of APP to keep track of these agents and vendors. You can find a specific purchasing agent by keyword, office, agency, set aside, NAICS code, etc. You can be very specific on your searches or very general. So for example, you could look up that specific agency and the specific office of that agency and that NAICS code. You can apply the filter with the name, email, phone number, all the contact information you know, including the view more option to get even additional information on that purchasing agent. You can see all the NAICS codes that they've worked. You can see their most recently posted opportunities. You can mark them that you've watched them or you are currently watching them. You can mark them that you've contacted them, and you can mark them that they're a favorite agent. If you had a great conversation with them, you can put notes on the conversation that you had. If they mention something about, I can't talk today, I have to take my dog Roscoe to the vet, but I'll be back Monday. When you call them on Monday, look at your notes and see that he took Roscoe to the vet and ask him, hey, how's Roscoe doing? Every little bit of data like that helps you build rapport and relationships, and people buy from people they like. You can also use the CRM to take notes on not just purchasing agents, but also vendors. So as you reach out to primes and introduce yourself, hit them with your elevator pitch, ask them what you can do to earn their business. You can keep track of who you've called and follow-ups and what notes you've made. And if you had a great conversation, you can mark it as a favorite vendor or a favorite agent. And again, keep track of the notes that were discussed so that when you follow up next time, you know where to reference back to. But remember this, guys, everything's a learning experience. You're creating to learn to create better. All right, guys, if anybody has any questions, we're going to take a few minutes to answer those now. All right, we got our first question here from Racine Miller. It says, can you please explain the technical proposal part of the master bid template? Absolutely. Great question. The technical proposal is if it's a product that you're selling, a technical proposal can be as simple as a brochure for the product. It could be a one-page brochure for the product. It has the specs, weight, size, amperage, the fine details of the product. So in that case, for a widget, a one-page brochure with a picture or something that simple. They might ask for a little more additional detail. It might need a 2 or 3 page brochure, but literally on a product, it could just be a brochure. Now, if you're selling a service, it's a little different. Your technical proposal on a service is going to be a detailed description on how you're going to provide that service, how you're going to stay friendly to the environment, meet the rules and requirements of the state and city and county, make sure that if there's employees on site, they clean up after themselves, they park in the proper space, there's not going to be sexual harassment, you're going to stay green, all the details that are involved in providing that service. And in most cases, your technical proposal, if you're providing a service, can be as simple as basically using the statement of work as an outline. So, for example, if the statement of work says that the government needs the grass cut every Tuesday and Thursday to 1 inch on both properties, and they want weed eating, edging, and cleanup afterwards, then your technical proposal is going to mirror that requirement, and it's going to state that you are going to cut the grass every Tuesday and Thursday to 1 inch at both of locations. You're also going to weed, edge, and clean up. And then you can add a little something extra, like we're also going to empty the ashtrays. It's with something that wouldn't cost you much more money to do, but it's giving the government a little bit more. What you want to do is you want to meet or exceed the requirements of the statement of work. And that's what your technical proposal is going to do. It's going to explain in detail, but also in layman's terms, how you're going to meet or exceed the requirements of the job. Excellent question. We have another question here. This one's an email, and it says, what are prevailing wages? Another good question. Prevailing wages, also known as the Davis-Bacon Act, is when basically the government is requiring you to pay your employees a minimum. There's a list of prevailing wages that you can download. You can download it off of APP. That's also on YouTube and Google, or you can ask me and I can send you a copy of it. But it's literally a list of wages that you have to pay each person in every category. And if you don't pay them the bare minimum and they audit you later, you can get in trouble. Now, in some cases, that minimum payment is not much more than minimum wage. So, and everybody who bids on it has to meet that requirement. So I get a lot of people that say, well, I can't compete with prevailing wage or Davis-Bacon contracts because I can't pay my guys that much. They're missing the point. Everyone who's submitting a bid has to pay their guys that much. So you just include it in your quote. You mark up what you would normally pay your guys, or I should say guys and gals, or your employees, to be politically correct. You mark up what you normally pay them to meet the prevailing wages, and you charge extra on your quote to be able to provide that, to be able to suffice. And that, honestly, it makes sense, but some people just don't get it when they say, well, I can't compete with prevailing wages because I can't pay that much. Everybody's paying that much. All right, good question. We've got another question here also through email. Says, how long does it take to know who won the bid after you submitted it? Okay. Everything with the government on the average is 30 days. When the government puts something out for bid, it's typically 30 days before they're going to ask you to submit the bid. It's typically 30 days before they're going to choose a vendor. It's typically 30 days before they have you start or ship the product, and it's usually 30 days upon completion or of receiving the product that they're going to pay you. So the average, 30 days. Now, each opportunity is different. Each opportunity has its own rules. And that's why we provide the training that we do to teach you how to determine how many days are required on these opportunities. To answer this specific question, how do you know when it's awarded or what's the time frame on when it's awarded? It's usually around 30 days on the average. In most cases, they're going to notify everyone else who bid on it before they notify the winner of the award. And that's because it's just common sense. If they got 6, 7 people that bid on this, they want to tell everyone who bid on it that didn't win it that it's been awarded, so all those people stop calling and emailing them and asking them questions. And then it could take a day or two before they actually put the award letter together and send it to the awardee. In which case, if you've been awarded a contract and you don't know it yet, and some of the other people that bid on it reach out to you out of the blue and say, hey, congratulations, can we work for you or supply to you as a subcontractor? And you don't know it's been awarded yet, congratulations, you won it. You just haven't been notified by the government, but your competition has, and that's why they're reaching out to you. So if that's ever the case on a proposal or bid solicitation you're working on, you get people that also bid on it reaching out to you saying, congratulations, celebrate because you won it. We've got a couple more minutes. Let's see if we can't tackle another question. Okay, this is a good one, and I can wrap this one up real quickly. The question is, it's another email we got. It says, how do we get simplified acquisitions? Simplified acquisitions are contracts. A lot of people call them no bid contracts. And because they're not put out for bid, you're not going to be able to go out and look at a list of them and bid on them because they're not put out for bid. They're no bid contracts. If you are a startup company or you've never done government work, the likelihood of the government just giving you a simplified acquisition out of the blue is not as apt until you build up your past performance. So the best way to get a simplified acquisition is to A, bid on contracts, win one, do a good job, get a good score, and that purchasing agent can hire you for simplified acquisitions down the road because you've already earned their trust. Plus you have past performance and you got a good score to back it. The second way to get simplified acquisitions is just to reach out to purchasing agents and introduce yourself, hit them with your elevator pitch, let them know what you can do and that you are set up for simplified acquisitions, and they can hire you to test the waters and see if you're going to do a good job. The third way to do simplified acquisitions is to bid on a contract or bid on a subcontract to a prime, do the job, get a good score. Because sometimes when you do sub work, you are scored by the government. Sometimes the prime has to disclose who you are so that the government knows you're the subcontractor. They know you did the job. And they could come to you next year when it comes up for renewal and ask you to bid on it directly. They can also hire you through the Simplified Acquisition Program if you're doing the work for them and they need something else done, an add-on or a completely different job. They can just hire you. The fourth way to get a simplified acquisition is just being registered. They can find you in the system as a small business or woman, minority, veteran, 8A, hub zone, disadvantaged or service disabled veteran, and they can hire you as a simplified acquisition just to test the waters. But like I said earlier, the likelihood of them doing that without any past performance or any reason why they should hire you and know they can trust you, it can happen, and it does happen, but you're more apt to get more of those as you build your past performance. And I have contractors and I have brokers that have won, several contracts they bid on, and now they're starting to get simplified acquisitions just falling in their lap. Purchasing agents just reaching out to them and saying, hey, I see you did this job. You got a great score. We got something else similar. Are you interested? Give us a quote. Quote's fair. They hire them. There's no rule of two. They don't have to get a second quote. And sometimes they prepay. And there's also the suggested threshold on simplified acquisitions is 8 million, but I've seen them as large as a billion or even multiple billions with only one offer received and partial prepayment. And sometimes they pay the entire amount up front. So good questions, guys. I'm going to wrap it up. I want you guys to have a wonderful weekend. And if you're